Hello.
Stranger, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Seriously, it's so good to see you.
I know it's been several years.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that not too long ago, um, about our run-in at U of M, and it feels like it was just. I don't know. That kind of feels like life right now, though. Like everything was like just yesterday,
Like, or in the last few months.
and then it's kind of. I saw a meme the other day that was like, you realize like 1992, like how long ago that was, and in our mind everything was like, oh yeah, 2005 was just like yesterday.
And
Yeah.
then, and then at the same time, it also feels like a decade plus, like 20 years.
I
For
always
sure.
am reminded of like how old I am when I'm teaching, especially like my babies here that are like 17, 18.
Mhm.
And I either will like say something to them and they'll be like, I have no idea what that is. Or that I'm like, what's the lingo these days? And I have no idea that I just sound old all the time. Um, I had a student not too long ago because I used to be like, they can't think that I'm like their mom, like that I'm old enough to be their mom, which like now I'm like, oh my God, I could like be some of these kids' mom. Um,
I know people have kids so like when they're so young, like people are having kids when they're 15 years old, and it's like so then like by the time they're 30, this kid is like 15 years
yes,
old.
yeah, absolutely. Like some of my friends have, like a 13 or 14-year-old, and it's so strange. But one of my students was like, I just appreciate you so much. And I love that I have like another mom figure in my life. And I was like, what? Like, and I was like, you mean like sister? And they're like, no. Like, and I was like, that's when I realized, like, and now I don't even try because it's like, you're going to think I'm ancient and it's okay. So it's,
Yeah, especially all the Gen Z people. I'm like, the language they use and the terms they use, I'm like, what are the cool kids saying these days? Because I really don't understand half the words they say. I'm like, why? But why?
yeah. And that's what I don't understand. One of my students last night, who I love dearly, she's a senior in high school, and she always like uses all this terminology, and I'm like, oh God, please don't say that. Please do, please. And all these like kind of hand motions and like signals and things, like I'm like, it makes me feel older and like curmudgeon-y. So
Right. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? I love your hair.
Thank you.
and I was like, your bedspread. I love, at least I think it's your bedspread behind you. Like is it teal or is it
I
just
love it.
Teal.
I was I didn't know if it was like the light hitting white and it'll make it look, is it white or is it green? Or is it
It's a good color scheme. And then the mug with the face and then your folders. I like the
Yeah, I
whole.
have a problem. I have a problem.
No, that's one of my favorite colors too. I
I never have enough light. Give me a second.
know my camera is permanently, there's like some sort of, I can't wipe it away. It's like permanently looks like it's just not blurry, but like smudged. I don't know. It's like,
a permanent filter for you, Rima?
I don't like it. Let's look like it's damaged around that area or something. I'm like, I didn't drop my computer. All right. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being here with us today. And I want to welcome everyone to STROLO University. STROLO U was created at the start of COVID pandemic as a way to offer both physical and mental activities and classes to help benefit the cystic fibrosis community through difficult months while society isolated at home. The CFLF expanded this program with a spring and fall semester this year, adding new classes and incorporating more educational and informative classes to the mix. We hope you enjoyed today's class. Keep checking our website and Facebook for more class updates. And I also want to thank our sponsors, Nestle Health Science, Chiesi, and Beatrice. So yeah, it's all you now, Ashley.
Awesome. Thank you so much for asking me to be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm fascinated by what you're all doing and just the variety of classes that you're offering everybody. If people haven't checked it out, there's literally something for everybody. And that you can go back and you can kind of binge watch maybe a little bit. And I think it's even more remarkable when you get to learn amongst and from other individuals with CF. So I think that just makes it all the more special. So
I have a question. Is there a place we can access the recordings?
Tiffany.
I think so. I know that we share it to our YouTube page and
Oh, and
the
Facebook.
CFLF YouTube page and the CFLF Facebook page.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, so Kate, we know what you're going to be doing all weekend. So I know there's cooking classes and like journaling stuff. There's
Yeah.
everything. So
We just
whatever-
had a CF research updates at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It was for Trikafta updates in the last 10%. And it was really great. So that's already, I think, uploaded on there right now.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. So thanks again for letting me be a part of this. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with Breathe Bravely or sINgSPIRE. sINgSPIRE has been a program since 2017 we launched, and it's a program in which we pair individuals with cystic fibrosis to professional voice instructors for 10 weeks of private voice lessons via Zoom. And you think back to 2017, Zoom wasn't exactly on everybody's list of commonalities to their day. So back then it was pretty unfounded actually, but it allowed our instructors, these brilliant individuals, and myself that I trust so deeply with their musical knowledge and their compassion and love for the CF community. It allowed us to reach a greater demographic of individuals. So we are just finishing up our 13th session in sINgSPIRE, and to date, we've had over 100 individuals go through the program, and to date have taught about 2,600 voice lessons via Zoom. So more than 90%, just a little over 90% of individuals who go through one session of sINgSPIRE continue on for multiple sessions. So we like to say, come, be a part of the program for 10 weeks and we'll teach you, a technique for singing, but most of all, just breath and body awareness to gain some respiratory strength and really allow you to discover your voice and the beauty truly within every breath and the power it gives to your voice. And you know what? Hopefully you can implement some of those things into your daily life. But you know what? Singing and any type of music is a journey and not a destination. So there's always something that you can be learning, that you can be working on. So it really allows us as instructors and musicians to meet our singers and individuals where they're at. So everything is truly customized to every single person we meet across the screen. So I know Kate, who is with us right now. Kate, how many sessions have you been a part of sINgSPIRE? Do you know?
I started fall of 2019.
19. Okay.
So like 4 maybe?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I feel like you've been, Kate, I think of sINgSPIRE and I think of Kate's always been there. So
I was born part of sINgSPIRE.
You were just waiting for the right time to launch it.
That's right.
Kate actually I sadly don't get to work with Kate every single week. I just get to live vicariously through one of my dear friends, Marin, who's her instructor. So yeah. So what I'm going to do today, I love Rima and Tiffany that you guys are going to be a part of this as well. It is my firm belief that every individual can sing. I know we all know those people that are like, and we might be one of them that's like, no, I can't sing. I only sing in the shower. But it is my firm belief that if you can breathe, you can sing. And so it's just learning how to utilize your breath. And as individuals with CF, it's so difficult because we spend so much of our life coughing, and we might know that we have, like a CF voice. We inhale a lot of irritants into our body, which aren't always the most kind to our vocal folds. And so we kind of maybe have this raspiness, we have this graveliness, and we know as our lung function deteriorates over time, our voice is affected by that. And so there's so many components to our program that are conducive to you just understanding how your voice works in its most optimum way, and also ways in which you can combat the effects of CF just through the simple art of singing. So be brave with me today. And we are going to start at the very beginning. So sINgSPIRE is formulated based upon a tiered system. So I graduated with my master's degree in voice performance and created this program from my own experience, but also my own expertise in the field. And so it's been really, really valuable to me to be a singer, and truly has impacted my life in the most life-giving of ways. And so it's always been my hope that through starting this program, that anybody can take something away and it can positively impact their life and maybe even better their quality of life. So first here is breathing, right? We do it so unconsciously, or when we do it, dealing with CF, maybe we don't do it unconsciously. We feel every labored breath that comes into our body. But what happens if you have the strength and you have the understanding that you could take back the control within your breath instead of being controlled by your breath? So just like working out, I know Rima, I am always so envious of all of your workouts that you're doing all the time. I'm like, that girl. Your respiratory system is a system of muscles, right? And so it's no different than, us deciding that we're going to go run a mile. Well, if I've never run before in my life, I'm not exactly going to be able to get up and do it. My body is not conditioned to do that. The same for singing, the same for breathing. So the very foundation of all singing is breathing. So just like when you get up in the morning and you might stretch, you might lift some weights, you might exercise, you have to condition and exercise your respiratory system. And for those of us with CF, that's real great, because that actually helps us survive with CF. So what I want you to do for me, if you're sitting down or you're standing up or whichever you prefer, I want you to put your arms around like a big barrel. Okay. And I want you to be able to put a dinner plate on your shoulders here. So it's flat. It's kind of like you have chicken wings. Okay. So we're going to talk about posture, right? That is step number one of taking a breath, but also every singer. We never see maybe your favorite singers hunched over and kind of crumpled up. Okay. So round to a barrel, and then you're going to go out to a T, and then you're going to drop your arms down. Okay. So there used to be this swimming stroke. That was if you all know that it's tickle T together, tickle T together. Side note, but just think of that as well as a swimming stroke. But what that does when you have your arms around that barrel one more time and out to a T, it allows you to just check in with your posture. It allows everything to balance on top of itself without being pulled forward from gravity or pulled back from gravity. So everything's working for you instead of against you. And when we spend a lot of our days in labored breathing and coughing, we need every ounce of energy possible, right? That also lifts up your sternum. And so that allows all of that movement underneath your rib cage for expansion to happen, so you can reach your greatest breath potential. Okay, so what you're going to learn today is a standard breath cycle. Okay, wow, you're all excited, I know. So you're going to push your air out. Okay, you're going to breathe in through your nose for 6 counts. I ask that you breathe in through your nose so that this is unable to tense up. Okay, so you're going to go in for 6, and then you're going to hiss. Okay, and we're going to do 16. The idea is that you're going to keep that like you're letting out air from a balloon, as consistent and as strong for the whole way. Okay, don't let yourself feel like it gets crumpled up. Resist the urge to pull all that air and push all that air out like a PFT. This is about stamina. This is about endurance. Okay, so we're building that diaphragmatic muscle so that when you go to do a PFT, it's going to be stronger and it is going to be more stable. Okay, so in for 6, for 16. Okay, friends, push your air out. And in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Good. Okay, question for all of you. Did you feel your stomach go out? Yes. Can anybody tell me why your stomach goes out when you take a deep breath?
Because you're filling the diaphragm, I guess.
I love, this is like my favorite part of singing. So your diaphragm is actually a muscle, right? And so it separates your body into two. And so it's this muscle like this, both your lungs are attached to it. So what happens is that muscle flattens and pulls down. It's kind of shaped like a bowl. And so it pulls your lungs down, sucking the air like a vacuum all the way to the very, very bottoms of our lungs. And so most people, when we're just talking and conversing like this, we actually do clavicular breathing. Nobody cares about that term, but if you think of your collarbones, just means shallow breathing. So we only use a third of our lung space when we're just speaking like this. Sad. Think of all those poor souls that like don't understand taking a deep breath, all that uncharted area. We also know with CF, we tend not to try and take a deep breath because it's going to stir some stuff up or it hurts, right? So thinking about just how you're breathing in this way, pulling that air into your body is going to allow that air to reach the bottom lobes of your lungs and really maybe help stir up some of the gunk down there, right? So the reason your stomach goes out though, this is the fun fact, and I promise you will never, ever, ever forget this. Your diaphragm flattens out this way, your lungs expand from the bottom and takes up more space, right? Well, your guts have no place to go. So a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, look, my hands are filling with air. That would be sweet. Sign me up for a third lung. I would be there. But it's actually your guts that you're feeling. So they're all getting pushed out. So when you go to exhale, your guts are actually pushing your diaphragm back into that resting position and the air from the bottoms of your lungs out. So how you find a consistent, controlled breath is based upon that resistance you have and that strength when letting everything out. So again, we're building muscle, we're building endurance, we're building stamina. So who can tell me what those intercostal muscles are?
I think of them as like being between the rib bones, like each on the sides.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So you and everybody, and we get to know them very well with CF. They are what help us cough, right? They're maybe what we like rip as well sometimes. They're what maybe are kind of sore most days. So they are a company in between our rib cage, and what actually happens when we breathe, our diaphragm goes down, but our intercostal muscles actually spread this way, and they help again pull open our lungs for that maximum breath potential. So if you'll put your hands on your rib cage, we're gonna do take in for 6 again. I want you to think about spreading that rib cage apart. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 breath cycles in a row. You're gonna go in for 6, out for 16, that hiss. When you get to that end of 16, don't let anything collapse. Think about pulling that breath low into your body with that expanse, and then set it back out, okay, for 16. So 2 in a row, 6, 16. Push your air out, and in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. 13, 14, 15, 16, in, 2, 5, 6, out. 13, 14, 15, 16. Sweet, really good. Okay, what did you feel? What did you notice about breathing that way and also doing 2 in a row?
It felt like I still had more left over. Maybe I wasn't doing it right, but I felt like at the end of the 2 cycles, the 16, I was like, I still had air to let out.
That's awesome. And so the great thing about breath cycles is they can be conducive to every individual, right? So if it's an individual who is not working on with a lot of lung capacity, bring that back down to 610, 612 and start to build, right? But if you feel like you've got lungs of steel, okay, do 630. What about 650? I just had a singer, OB little singer the other day, do 670. And the crazy thing is, when you have that strength and stability underneath you, it doesn't really take a lot of breath to make that sound, it takes consistency, it takes stability. And that's the same as singing. It doesn't take a lot of force to make a sound. It takes that consistency and that control. So Rima, figure out how long you can go and do a few of those in a row, because not only is it being able to do one, but if you can do 5 in a row, again, that's like singing a song. We don't get to be like, whoo, a phrase and be done. We have to take a breath back in and we have to keep going. So it's like a marathon of that happening. So sweet. Okay, you know, add that a part of your physio you do every single day. I do it when I wake up in the morning, because that breath awareness of how it feels coming into my body, that expansion, you know, I'll lay in bed, take that breath for 6 in through my nose, do tss or an SH out. And you know what? Yesterday, it might have felt this way, or I might have been able to tss for 16 with no problem. But today I can only get to 13, no matter how much, you know, I kind of warm things up. And so it's worked as a really great like barometer almost, or gauge for my body if something feels off or if something doesn't feel quite right. So that way, if we don't wait too long, right, before we notice something's off. And you know your body best. So make that a part of your day. It's also a really great way to just kind of loosen everything up and get your body moving and get some of that junk moving. And you know, breathing in and of itself has shown to have so many benefits to it. You know, just allowing that nitric oxide to really open all of those good feelers for the day, and just mental health, physical health, emotional health, just like you were talking at the beginning of what the point of this whole program really is, for STROLO. So one more breath cycle I want to teach you. A part of the sINgSPIRE program, we, you know, kind of start with the basics, and then based upon how, you know, you're gaining that strength, that awareness, we keep adding more and more and more and more on. So it's like weightlifting and putting, you know, some extra weights on the sides of them. So one that I would like to do with all of you is in for 6, and you're going to pretend, whether or not maybe you have a straw, that you are going to take a straw and you're going to put the straw at the bottom of your hand. And what I want you to do first, you're actually going to plug the straw when you have a straw with you. Or if you don't, I want you to imagine that you have like the thickest malt in the world, and you go to like take a drink of it, and I don't know, you like there's a strawberry that get like lodged in here, and you have to like all you can. We've all been there, we all know. So I want you to feel kind of everything kind of suction within you. You're going to feel it in your diaphragm, you're going to feel it in your sternum here. So what you're going to do, if you have a straw, you're going to like put your hand on the bottom and you're going to suck in. You're going to feel this all open up, but if not, just pretend. Okay, so you're going to go and you're going to blow out. So you're not going to take any air in. You're just going to use what's in your lungs. Okay, so in, out. Good. It does not feel great. All right, like we're not like, yes, please let me do that all the time. No, but what it's going to do is it brings a level of awareness to that diaphragm. Otherwise, our diaphragm is the laziest part of our body. Okay, it's not going to do anything if it doesn't have to, or it's going to make you think that it's working. So, oh, look at Kate, extra points for you. Look at that. Okay, so hand on the straw, or like the pretend straw. And then again, so same thing, in and just let it out. Really focus on that reversal of that diaphragm, moving everything out. Okay, so in, out. Fun fact, our body has been hardwired for eons and eons. When we start to get low in lung capacity, we have this like little red light that goes off in our mind, right? That's like, alert, alert, you must breathe. Remember to breathe. Fun fact, has been proven that when that little kind of voice in our head and that reflex starts to panic, we actually have about 50% of our lung capacity left. So our body thinks we're dumb and that we're not going to breathe. So when we start to have that panicky feeling, I want you to think in your mind like, it's okay, I will let you breathe. I will let you breathe. And so that panic, that anxiety, think about when we do a PFT, what that does to us, right? When they're like, blow, 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 and you're like, there's nothing left. And we're always amazed that there's more left. Think about what you just did about not taking a breath in and you pushed air out, and there's air in those lungs. So much of singing is mental, and how we feel the sound and feel our breath versus what we hear and what our brain is telling us. So it's getting to kind of quiet everything of that. So just remember that little panic button, okay? Also, do not worry that you won't breathe, like you'll tell yourself not to breathe and you won't. Our body also is hardwired to make us pass out, which none of you will do, to take in breath, okay? So now what I want you to do, I want you to take a breath in with your imaginary straw with that same kind of pulling sensation or focus on your diaphragm and that tension here. Okay, our throat's going to be nice and open. You're going to take it in through your nose. You're going to imagine that somebody is baking brownies in the other room and they smell delicious. Okay, so you're going to take a breath in for 6, and then you're going to blow out through a straw. You're going to put your hand in front of your lips or through the straw, and you're going to keep that air consistent for 16. Okay, so again, in for 6, 16. Let's do 2 in a row. Push your air out. And in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. 13, 14, 15, 16, in, 2, 5, 6, out. 14, 15, 16. Sweet, very, very good. So utilize those a part of your day. If you're starting to feel anxious, if you're like, I just need to check in with how my breath is doing today, or haven't even thought about breathing today, go a long ways just for you to maintain that maximum breath potential, to that flexibility. Also, fun fact, if we don't sing for 3 days or use that muscle structure of deep breathing, those muscles start to atrophy. So even breathing or singing for 10 minutes a day, it goes a long ways. So don't let those muscles deplete, okay? So once you start to feel like, oh, 16 is easy, or 30 or 70 or whatever you get to, up it, make it a challenge for you if you're gaining that strength. So now what we do, a part of sINgSPIRE, we add your voice to that breath, because that breath is that foundation. A part of our program, we, and Kate will, kind of attest to this, we spend a lot of time on breath. And so a lot of times when people come to voice lessons, I teach my cohort of students here in my studio the exact same way I teach all of the sINgSPIRE students that have CF, because it's all the same. All of it's rooted in that breath. It's not about the amount of breath you have in your lungs, it's about what you do with it. So we learn how to put and just let our breath, or let our sound sit on top of that breath. So what I want you to do for me, you're going to take that same breath or like suction that you did with your straw, and you're going to go, whoo. So there's not going to be any breath in your body. You're going to use what's in your lungs. Okay. So like you're almost like shooting a dart or a spitball, I guess, out of your mouth with that. Okay. So this is great. You're all on mute. Sing your little hearts out. Okay. Make the neighbors be like, what's going on over there? There's always a lot of sliding going on. There's always a lot of like siren action going on with your voice. So let it just soar. Okay. So you're going to take that breath in. Whoo. Now your turn. Let's do it together. Whoo. Good. And now I want you to take a breath through your nose, and I want you to fill that space and feel that expansion. Think about just taking enough breath. It doesn't take a lot of breath to make sound. So take a nice, easy breath, keep that space, and you're going to do the exact same thing. So let's do it together. Whoo. Good. Now we're going to reverse it. Will you put your hand on your chest? And I want you to think about this being a trap door. Okay. We got to keep all of this space open up here where we just went, and we're going to slide, and we cannot slide or do a sigh like we just did without our diaphragm doing all of the work and leading that. Okay. Because that's where this maybe wants to come into play. This is just a means by which air passes through, and it makes this phenomena sound. Singing starts here for this endpoint here of finding resonance. Okay, so nice easy breath in again. Woo is what we're gonna do. Okay, so push your air out. Nice easy breath in. Woo. Good. I want you to click your tongue for me in the roof of your mouth, And again, 99% of the population never thinks about what's going on in their mouth unless they burn their mouth on pizza, which I'm sure you've all done a time or two. Your tongue is probably the second most important player when it comes to singing. So our tongue works as a reflector of sound and breath. So that diaphragm, number one, okay? Number two, that tongue. So click one more time. Good. Our tongue has 7 muscles within it. Crazy, fun facts. So it also has a mind of its own, and we've never thought about it. So I want you to think about if you've ever gotten like caramel, or you've ever gotten like peanut butter stuck to the roof of your mouth, and maybe like you've tried everything you possibly can, like with your tongue, to get it like off, but you have to, like, I don't know, stick your finger in your mouth and like scrape the roof of your mouth down to your teeth. It's not glamorous. We've all done it. But I want you to think about your sound hitting that little spot, that little dome space inside your mouth, and that sound's going to scrape the roof of your mouth down to here. And I know you're like, Ashley, that sounds crazy. Like, how can I feel my sound? I promise you, you'll be able to feel it. It's always been there. Our mind is cluttered with other things. Okay. So same thing, breath in through your nose, and then that same whoo. Okay. So push your air out and in. Whoo. Good. Now we're going to reverse it. We're going to do the whoo. Okay. Think about hitting that spot and scraping the roof of your mouth. Push your air out. Breath in. Whoo. Good. Okay. Could anybody feel the vibration in the roof of their mouth? See, I know you're all skeptical. I know. The crazy thing about like these types of little sirens and things like that is if we allow that breath underneath us to really just let our sound just sail, that works as a really great way for airway clearance. So it's also a way in which we like speed up and slow down our breath. But hey, who doesn't want to do it when they're singing? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 in a row. Think about how your air speeds up and spins quicker. And I know you're like, Ashley, that sounds crazy, but I want you to put your hand in front of your lips, and I want you to feel how your air speeds up. So we're going to do from low to high, and you're going to go woo, woo. Okay, so together with me. Okay, push your air out, take a breath in, and woo, woo. Yeah, that's so cool. Another way you can test that is if you have like a beverage or a glass of water and you blow bubbles into it and do the same thing. You'll see how the bubbles change the higher you get. Okay, because our voice, the higher it is, the frequencies look like this. And so our breath has to spin quicker in order to meet those frequencies. As we get lower, the frequencies kind of pull apart, so our breath doesn't have to move as fast. Yeah. So singing is 100% methodical and not one of those phenomenons that we're like, okay, if I open my mouth, what's going to come out? Nope. And that's the beauty of singing, is that it's brought back to your own control. Okay. So we're going to do some sirens. We're going to do this. Woo, woo, woo. Look at your lips like this. Show me your, are you all old enough here maybe? Like the Ben Stiller, like Zoolander, like Blue Steel. Okay. See, I remember we were talking about students earlier, and if I tell them that, they're always like, I don't know what that is. So thank you for not making me feel old. Think of showing your cheekbone.
Classic student move where I tried the thing with the drink, but it was a full can of soda, and now I have like soda all over my lap. Anyways.
It's good. It's okay. Well, your cat's there. Isn't your cat like? Can the cat just like?
I don't have any pets.
Oh, okay. I just thought I like, or maybe
I have a boyfriend. Maybe.
That works too. That absolutely works too. So let's do a little siren like that. Okay. So woo woo woo. Show me your Blue Steel look. Okay. We're gonna throw in a pucker like this. Okay. So that same good breath. Think about that speeding up. Here we go. So push your air out, take a nice breath in. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, very, very good. Let's go a little bit lower. You're going to feel maybe some rumbles in your chest. Okay, so here we go again. Nice breath in. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, Sweet. Singing is 100% about how it feels in your body and not what you hear. I know it's weird. How many of you have ever heard a recording of yourself? Whether it's speaking or singing. Did it sound like you thought it was supposed to sound? No, it's pretty horrifying. Like we feel lied to. Like we get angry and we're like, oh my gosh, I feel like my whole life is a lie. I don't even know how I sound. It's an awful feeling. And we never want to sing or speak again because we're like, is that what I really sound like? And a lot of times we maybe think that we sound like a little kid. And the reason for that is we're hearing our sound from inside our body. So we're hearing all of the reverberations off of our skull, off of our sinus cavities. And I mean, us, if our like sinus cavities were all plugged up, yeah, we're really hearing a lot of that reverberation. And we hear all of the lower timbre of our voice and the lower frequencies within our voice. And what everybody else is hearing is all of those higher frequencies out of our body. So again, it's all based upon how our sound feels in our body and what's happening versus, oh my gosh, I'm trying to create this because I want it to sound like Adele. Been there. And I'm like, oh, I sound like Adele. No, that's a lie I like to tell myself until I hear myself. And so thinking and allowing yourself that freedom to just let your voice be your voice can be so freeing for your breath. And also, we don't have your voice in the world. Your voice is like your fingerprint. So how many of you like call your grandma on the phone or have like a customer service voice, or when we're talking to the insurance company, okay? And we're like, hi, my name's Ashley. I would like to talk to you about this bill I received that didn't go through my, oh, you're not gonna, oh, okay. But we like put on the kind of like nice voice. Is that your real voice or is that a fake voice?
Definitely a fake animated voice.
But also your voice.
It's actually your real voice that you're supposed to be speaking with. So based upon culturally, based upon like centuries and centuries of thinking that associating lower timbred voices with being more masculine, being more authoritative, especially in females, we run into this problem a lot because we want people to take us seriously. And so what we'll often do, especially if we have, males that we talk to or females that are using a lower pitched voice, we will actually squish our voice down so that it matches their pitch level. You didn't even know you were doing it. You didn't even know. But how many of you have ever had your voice feel tired at the end of the day? Or if you were out with friends and you were talking all day, or you were on the phone, or Zoom's real bad. If you've been talking on Zoom all day and you're not using a healthy voice or your healthy voice, oh my gosh, it's like sandpaper and it's gonna sit down here like this. And we all are inhaling those harsh irritants. And so creating even more abrasiveness here. And so it makes us feel like we're gonna vocal fry like this. And it's literally like sandpaper on our vocal folds. And what happens? Okay, they rub together, and then they get swollen. And then we feel like we lose our voice or we're hoarse. So what do? We push even harder and we inhale all the drugs. Okay, especially Toby. Toby's known for not being gentle to the throat. So then our vocal folds swell up even more. And guess what we do? We push even harder to try and make sound come out. So I know everybody's like, that can't be my real voice. But tell me this, when you speak that way, do you feel anything here? So if you say like, hi, my name's Ashley. Hi, my name's Rima. Hi, my name's Tiffany, in your grandma voice or your customer service voice, feel how free and weightless your sound is and how clear it is. I know that I'm not speaking well or speaking helpfully if my husband or if I'm talking to, a friend and they're always asking me, what'd you say? Especially now if we're wearing a mask, it's easier for people to hear a higher pitch. So think about that when you're conversing with people, and especially through a mask, let yourself have that kind of like a grandma voice. People might be like, oh, what's going on with your voice? Like what you sound, and just start listening to your friends, start listening to, you know, your community and how they're speaking, because so much of our quality of life is wrapped up in our voice. Our voice is the most truest essence of who we are, right? If we've ever had somebody make a comment about our voice, oh, it hurts. And it doesn't leave us because it's us. We can't change it, right? Or we try and like lower it as much as possible so that like nobody can hear us. And it's not, I don't know, as confrontational as maybe we think it's going to be. So allow yourself to live in that space. So I also call it the Julia Child voice, to kind of find that. Again, I'm glad that you all know that, because again, I will say that to like my like wee baby students and they'll be like, who? So always say like, I'm Julia Child, way up there, right? Or I like to like say, I'm having tea with the queen. I'm having tea with the queen. It all feels like it's buzzing up here. Okay, so join me. Say, I'm Julia Child. Okay, here we go. Breathe through your nose. I'm Julia Child. Yeah, feel how light and buoyant that baby is. That is your voice. Most people are speaking a fifth lower than their actual voices. So like 5 notes, 5 pitch levels lower than they're supposed to be. Okay, so again, based upon how it feels, not how it sounds. I'm Julia Child. Now I want you to do, I'm having tea with the queen. Okay, it was just the queen's birthday. Okay, so what a day. Okay, here we go together. I'm having tea with the queen. Yeah, and I want you then, when you're doing that, to feel how the sound is hitting in the roof of your mouth and how cool that breath feels. Okay, one more time, same thing. And I'm having tea with the queen. Singing is speaking and speaking is singing. It's the exact same thing. We like to think like when we go to sing that it's a totally different voice in our body. Again, if you can speak, you can sing. So do for me, I don't want you to think about what you're hearing or what you're doing. I want you to put your finger in front of your lips like this, or you can do this. You can do either one. I don't know. So I grew up in like a rural Iowa town, baby town with like 300 people, okay? And for fun, we would take giant blades of grass and we would put them between your fingers. Thank you for not making me feel so alone. And you would blow through this like little keyhole place, right? And it would make that kind of like squeaky sound. I feel like everybody who's never done this is like missing out. I'm sure people are watching this like, so you can either do this or you can do this, whichever you prefer. I'm going to do this one first, and you're going to put your lips right through that keyhole, okay, right where that keyhole is. And what you're going to do is this. You're going to buzz right through there, okay? So, yeah, one more time. Good. Did you feel a buzz on your lips when you did that? Again, it's not about here at all. It's allowing that breath to fluidly move to this space. We're not trying to micromanage pitches. Think about that vibration on your lips and how your diaphragm has to really move that air. Okay, one more time, do 2 in a row, okay? Here we go. Good, and if you do it with one finger, because sometimes you can be like driving your car and doing this, but you can't take your hands off the wheel, okay? So if you put it on your lips like this, your lips are gonna be loose and it's gonna make a double hum sound, okay? So it's gonna sound like this. And that's all you're gonna focus on is that breath underneath it. It might feel breathy to you, okay? Good, really makes the diaphragm work, yeah? So will you do for me, we're gonna do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and I want you to do it either like this or like this. You're gonna go, okay? All that vibration, keep that vibration even, okay? Here we go. Good, yeah, sweet. And then what's gonna happen? We're teaching our body that it doesn't need to control the sound, right? It's using that air, it's using that resonance. And this is what's gonna happen. Okay, so do that for me, whether it's this or this. Here we go. Good. So next thing, we're gonna do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star again, but you're gonna do the same thing. So it just makes sure that all that sound stays on your lips. Okay, here we go. And good job. Sweet. Okay, now we take away the finger though. So it's going to start right there. We're setting our body up for success. Okay, take a breath. Here we go. Good. Really, really good. Okay, so put the words with Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and that always makes things just 10 times harder, okay? Because words ruin everything, and they make all of that sound like jut all over, okay? So we want to keep that wonderful tube of sound. It's going to sound like this. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. If we think about articulating everything and moving our mouth, that continuous tube of sound you just gave me on that who is going to bounce all over the place. And then your breath's going to go out from underneath you because it wasn't ready for that amount of space you just gave it. Okay, so here we go, friends. Just the words on that, okay? Here we go. And twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Yeah, good. Really, really good. Okay, when you're singing in the car, when you're singing in the shower, when you are, put a Spotify list on. I listened to the Rent soundtrack today. That was just, bringing me back to the days. Utilize these things, right? Never mindlessly sing. Yeah, do we like to just go out there and like, yes, belt our favorite song? Absolutely. But be mindful about how your body's working for you, and especially that idea of support underneath you and resonance here, and allowing that vibration and that sound to live up here. So what we're getting then is all of your wonderful sound out here. Our voice is a heavy thing, and if it gets stuck back here, our vocal folds then feel like, oh, I gotta push it up and I have to work extra hard, or our voice cracks. No, it's all about the reflection and getting it into this resonant space, we call it, so that it can be sent out into the world. And it can make it feel so easy and light for us. Yeah. Sweet. Thank you for doing this with me today. I feel like it's like, hi, here's 10 weeks of sINgSPIRE, like crash coursed into this much time. So
Thank you so much, Ashley, and for going over what sINgSPIRE program is by Breathe Bravely. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, we have a few more minutes. That was really fun. That was cool. Like one of those people are like, I can't sing. I sing in the car. That's about it.
Seriously, and it's such a mind shift though for people when it's like, oh my gosh, I can do this, or you kind of set this goal for yourself and realize that singing is such a methodical thing, and that everybody can do it if we allow ourselves to the freedom to really channel those, like, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. So
yeah, exactly. Also, when you were talking how it's so hard to hear, like I have trouble hearing because I have tinnitus. So like anyone who mumbles, so wearing a mask obviously doesn't help. Also, I don't like being on the phone with or taking food orders, like placing an order. And if they have a loud background or if they have an accent, like I can't hear them. I was like, can someone else take this order for me? I was like, I can't hear.
And and that's just the thing about CF as well. We pull that sound inside our body, especially if we have damage to our hearing at all or tinnitus. And so we pull it back into our body so we can hear ourselves better. But that's actually like covering everything, so people can't hear us then either. And other people are doing that regardless if they have hearing issues. So it's like, everybody just use your voice. And start to notice, like when you're on the phone with somebody or you're on a Zoom call, where their pitch level is, or if you feel yourself like kind of sinking down a little bit, or your voice is tired at the end of a call. Yeah, it's a crazy thing to start to notice, and especially culturally as females, we tend to do it more so, just to kind of like assert our authoritative, respect in a sense. If we're in a professional setting, we've all maybe heard, females being like, oh, she has such a high squeaky voice. Well, that doesn't exactly have a great connotation to it. So yeah, it's the voice can tell a lot about people's health, but also about, what they think about themselves, and, maybe trauma that they've endured as well. So
Yeah, that all makes very much sense for sure. All right, well, thank you so much again for being here with us today. And I want to thank our sponsors, Chiesi and Beatrice and Nestle Health Sciences, for sponsoring this program. And thank you guys for joining. I hope everyone has a great day.
If I wanted to sign up and be part of sINgSPIRE, what should I do?
Oh yeah, I have the link. I think I copied it. Hold on. Good.
Look at you. Kate, how did you sign up?
I heard about it and I just Googled it, and it like showed up on the Google machine.
Awesome. We probably sent you to breathebravely.org, which there's a subheading that it will like take you to all of the sINgSPIRE stuff.
Exactly.
Awesome. Good job, Kate.
Yeah, thank you for catching that. I like totally opened and copied the link so I could put it in there.
No, that's perfect. That's great.
All right. Well, thanks again, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you for being brave.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.